We're at the Academy of Lions. This is a really cool occasion. We're backstage at the Agatsu convention put on by Shawn Mozen, and we have some of the true masters of movement here in one place and one time, so we're going to get a little bit of wisdom from each of them and maybe get into some discussion. There's no script. It's basically we're just going to ask a few questions, talk about what we would want to describe as the artistry of movement, trying to figure out how we can be better people and athletes through movement. So I'll introduce everybody here first. Shawn Mozen, world traveler,
it's like a cooking show.
Renaissance man, founder of Agatsu, the man who essentially put kettlebells on the map in Canada and in many places around the world, is doing the same. And he put on the Agatsu convention, and we're going to hear about how this all happened very shortly. Willie, world champion powerlifter. What's the most weight you lifted up over the ground?
Deadlift, officially 716, did a 727, it got turned down, but yeah.
Okay, so unofficial?
727.
727?
Right on it.
It's official.
It's okay.
In kilograms.
330.
You have some respect now.
Yeah.
Before he didn't like you, but a little bit.
Yeah, Ido Portal. Just Google it and watch the videos. I can't really say anything more. The proof is in the pudding. Actually, the proof is in the handstands. And true master of movement. Very honored to have him here. Mike Latch, one of the top trainers and CrossFit owners in all the world, has 3 of the top athletes in the CrossFit Games right now. Chris Cleaver, Rebecca Boyd, and Katie Hudson. Right? Hogan. I screwed it up. Sorry, Katie.
Now I'm Katie Hudson.
Katie Hudson. Okay, wait, hold on. We can edit that. Katie Hogan. Cool. So, true masters of movement here. So, the first thing I'm going to ask is, Shawn Mozen, how did this come to be? How did this come together? Why are we all here right now?
Because I didn't have enough stress in my life, and I decided that I was going to up my stress levels and try to put on a convention. No, we tried something a couple of years ago at your first gym, your first location, and the idea was simple, was to after having gone to a couple of fitness conventions with you, and for lack of a better way of describing it, wanting to take whatever piece of garbage they were selling and jab it through my eye.
That's right.
I thought it would be interesting to actually do a fitness convention where, 1, you could learn something and people weren't trying to sell you pants, and 2, you really had an opportunity that you could train with a bunch of people that were really experts in their field. It wasn't going to cost you a fortune, and you could get not only exposure to things that are quote-unquote functional fitness, but things that in any given workshop would really change the way you train. It would have an impact on you, on your clients. So if you weren't a trainer and you just wanted to improve somehow your physicality, that spending 2 hours with any of the people that were presenting would really have an impact.
And that's the interesting thing. I've seen in this weekend, Ido, a master in his own right, training in your kettlebell certification. Willie, a champion, training with Ido. We're all training with Ido. Everyone's exchanging information. In the fitness industry, it seems like everybody's trying to sell something or do something. It seems like this is a very organic learning environment. It's where people are getting together to exchange information and look at each other's movement and see what they can glean. So I'll ask the next question, Willie. What have maybe you taken home from Ido? Because I saw that you were very attentive in his workshop. How does what he taught transfer to powerlifting?
That's a tough question, but I will say that anything to do with the human body and understanding mechanics of the body, whether it be for your sport or something that's far away from your sport, understanding the body to its full capacity through other people and other people's eyes and trying to see through them will only help you. And I think that's what's great about this, is it's not a battle of egos. Everyone's in here trying to learn off of each other instead of showing whose balls are bigger by what I lift, what I do. So Ido, what he taught today really will help me. Hopefully through some shoulder and elbow mobility, some issues I have. If I cannot, I say this to all my clients, and I don't even take my own advice sometimes, is if you cannot even move your own body through space, you have no right touching a barbell, you have no right actually lifting weights. And sometimes I find myself unable to move my body through a particular path. So hopefully through his guidance, he'll help me get there. And as I become more mobile and better at just my own control, then it translates into the barbell in time.
So, is that what you consider your gift to, the world of athletics, is the understanding of mechanics, efficiency, grace, as you put it before? That's what I see. I mean, you do get a lot of demand from CrossFit gyms and different places that do powerlifting and other aspects of athletics that are a little more defined in terms of the pathway, bar go up, bar go down, but it seems that everybody's really interested in finding out how to move their body in space in all these different degrees and directions. Is that where you see your contribution to this community?
One of the things that I believe in is not to place one certain trait in the center of the model, of the fitness model. And definitely my contribution is a multi kind of an approach. So part of it is grace and movement quality, which I also found in Shawn's work. Definitely you can see that the bell is being taken up and down in a very intricate, very delicate way, and with a certain quality that even I can recognize without knowing too much about the field. Another thing is movement complexity, which should be increasing for any mover. Yeah? Anyone who is interested in movement and wants to attack it either for depth, like Willie does, and really going with expertise, very narrow but very deep, or for someone who is more a generalist, like me, like Mike. Also, Shawn is very interested in it. I know that you're very interested in this kind of an approach. Another idea that I think I carry and I bring is this biomechanical understanding of movement, and because I don't believe in just proper one kind of an alignment, you have to also understand all kinds of things around the movement, and the best way to approach training, because you cannot, it's some kind of a weird loop. There is a very good book, philosophical book that talks about it. It's called I Am a Weird Loop. And talks about, yeah, I Am a Weird Loop. And it's a funny thing, because when you have an exact thing, you can grab it and you can hold on to it. But with good things, they're complex systems. And when you stop to look at them, they disappear. You cannot actually stop to grasp it, to grab it. And movement
like
is
matter.
It's not tangible sometimes. So you have to create a different approach, some kind of a circumvent approach, to hold on to it and to hug it, and without trying to squeeze it too hard, because it will disappear. And with a lot of the things that we deal with, we work with, it's that. So if Willie is going to give an exact prescription for a bench, sometimes it's not going to work. And you need to work around it and create stability around the movement, create solutions, etc.
And what's really interesting, there's one word that you said during your workshop where, it's a word that I constantly use and look for. It's the word grace. It's a word that doesn't get used in physical fitness or athletics very much, but I think it's really the mechanism we need to interpret all performance and all technique. There's in the Bushido, it's a Japanese philosophical text, and they describe grace as the efficiency of force, or the efficiency of movement, or the economy, right? So, and it's interesting, I've studied with the three of you, and I'm about to study with you today. I'm looking forward to it, and I think in everything I've learned from all you guys, whether it's bodyweight, powerlifting, kettlebells, the movement looks beautiful in a way that you would go to see someone dance, and if it looks beautiful, it is beautiful. It's efficient, right? And I think that's a really interesting context that I've, whether you've used the word grace or I've seen it in Willie's workshop, and Shawn, I know, has alluded to that billions of times. That seems to be, again, the idea of the mastery of movement, right? So it's very, in my opinion, it's very cool to present that out there to the world. Again, and I just wanted to actually ask Mike this. In our world, in CrossFit, there's a huge emphasis on performance, and I think that's great. I think there needs to be certain things to base yourself against. But you have a very successful gym. There's a reason why your athletes are doing so well. Can you maybe describe some of your philosophy? The gym, in my opinion, is a reflection of its director, of its owner, of its head coach. How do you incorporate this idea of maybe grace efficiency instead of just getting the workout done as fast as possible?
Well, I have a martial arts background, which I think plays into it. I know that certainly the first time I met Shawn, Within 5 minutes, I felt like I'd known him for 10 years. I feel like where Ido is on his path, I'm on the path. I'm not as far along, but I've always told people, even since day one in CrossFit, for me, I've said it's not just about working out; it's about the graceful application of your your movements and your exercise. So I think what we do maybe a little differently from other CrossFit gyms is we don't just carry sandbags, we don't just flip tires, we don't just do power cleans, but I force all my people to really cross-train in other things, to practice some hand balancing, to practice some parkour, practice free running, go on a trail run, go to the park and walk on top of a fence, on top of a rail.
So are the 3 girls doing that stuff?
Absolutely.
Right on.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Becca and I have done the Navy SEAL obstacle course at Coronado.
Yeah.
The first time I saw her scale a wall was not in the 2009 or 2010 CrossFit Games, and I watched her scale on the wall, and even when they told us what had to be done, I was like, Becca can handle that because we did it before.
Right. Right. So they're actually cross training outside of CrossFit. Right. It's very interesting.
I think that's what CrossFit is.
Right.
I think from the way that I interpreted it in 2005 when I discovered it for myself, I always looked at it as this thing that couldn't be grasped. It was always something you can't put a label on. Since then, I've had even someone reviewed my gym on Yelp and said what they're doing is not CrossFit. And I thought, how can they not be CrossFit?
Right.
Just because we use endo boards means we're not CrossFit. CrossFitters don't use endo boards. CrossFitters don't. What is it that CrossFitters don't do?
Right.
Tell me, because I'll be sure and do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They should be prepared for most anything.
Right. I think so.
Ideally. Yeah, that's very cool.
Well, like you said, the proof is in the proof is in the result. I always, when I travel around and we talk, I've seen a lot of different CrossFits and a lot of them have hosted me. And so oftentimes your gym comes up, and I've said it many, many times, that you're the best CrossFit coach that I've seen. And I always use you as the perfect example of what I thought CrossFit was supposed to be, because you're the best generalist that I've ever seen. And it's not and being generalist to me is a high compliment, because I basically just think you're very good at everything that you do.
Well, I think that's the mark of an athlete and someone who understands movement, is being able to
it's
look
ridiculous.
at it.
You watch him skip,
And
and he's skipping skipping was his thing, but it's not his thing, And then you watch him on the indoor board, you watch him with the kettlebell, or you watch him doing Olympic lifts. At any point, if you kept walking out and coming back in, you would just think that was the guy's thing. Now that must be Mike's thing. He's an Olympic lifter. That must be his thing. And that's a great thing, to be in control of your body in so many different things.
Yeah.
What a great thing to have.
And I love that as a context for further practice, right? Is basically control your body, right? And then apply that in any direction you want. You mentioned, you can transfer a lot of your skills to whether it be powerlifting, Olympic lifting, this and that. It's an amazing ability just to understand movement as movement and then transfer that to whatever application you want. And if the training is consistent and you're passionate, you'll get to where you want to go.
Lifted a kettlebell like he was having playing with kettlebells.
And I've seen your back squats on on Facebook and all that stuff. Very, very impressive. One thing that was really interesting to me, I was watching an interview that someone had posted on YouTube, and again, just back to this idea of a practice. The word practice you use constantly, and it's very interesting because I try to think of it that way as well. And what you were saying really reminded me of that whole idea of you're not just an Olympic lifter, you're not just a CrossFitter. It's like kind of like a yoga practice. You explore it, almost like a meditation practice, right? And all these things kind of come together. He's not a hippie. I might have been a hippie in high school. More of a beatnik. I was more into Allen Ginsberg than
He was a vegan.
I was a vegan for 6 years, but not anymore. But
Jewish.
yeah, I'm recovering vegan. But yeah, that was the thing that struck me though. That was when I was like, Ido is someone to learn from. That it's never ending. It's always a practice. You're always learning more. You're always learning from different masters and stuff like that. Can you maybe expand on that topic a little bit?
Yeah, the word practice is not. It's right. It's not used in the fitness industry very often, and it's more related to yoga and other kind of elements around yoga. But I definitely like the idea of having a practice. For me, the center of it is the intelligence. You need to rely on intelligent movers, people that can develop themselves. and not only just follow exact prescriptions put on a board. Now, to develop practice, to develop a student who is able to hold a practice and develop a practice, it's a much more complex thing than just developing a good athlete. And for me, it's also about longevity. It will carry much longer. Some of my students became professional dancers. Some of my students are doing fitness work, and then some of them, I have an ex-student who owns a facility in San Francisco, doing some work there, some circus type things. I think what I gave them was actually the ability to perceive physical work and to translate it into various fields. And that requires a more intelligent, much more elaborate approach to the madness, and not just prescription.
It's thoughtful.
Yeah. Another word which is close to it is research. Also, we use that word again. Research it. Like grab a kettlebell, research it. Not a lot of people use that, and I think it's all for me, that's what's exciting.
It's not calories, it's research.
Correct. Yeah. It's exciting to go into it, to really, to bathe in it, to bathe in the practice, and to come out with conclusions, with ideas, with variations.
Okay guys, so this is the final portion of this little roundtable, so I thought it'd be really fun if you guys took over, ask questions to each other, and take advantage of us all being here at the same time. So you want to kick it off, Shawn?
Kick it off. Okay, so ask one question to...
Ask anything to anybody, free for all.
Ask anything to anybody. Ido, if you had one message that you were trying to get across to all of your students, I know it's hard to sum things up and to encapsulate all of the things you're trying to share. But if you could say one thing that you really want people to learn from all of this training, to get out of their training, to start training, one reason to draw people into this type of work, to working with you or working with others that are doing this kind of skill, what is the one thing, maybe even that your teachers have shared with you that meant the most that you want to pass on?
That's definitely a tough question, but for me, the biggest question was, if I'm going to when I chose to dedicate my life to this profession, I had to choose something smart, intelligent, deep, that I can research for the rest of my life. And I was a kid who was a geek. Part of what I did was sports and martial arts and stuff, but I was highly interested in math and computer science. And when I got this appreciation, and I got the view, the long-term view of movement intelligence, complexity, grace, quality, and not just capacity, not just strength, then I understood, okay, I can go into this. I can bathe myself into this for the rest of my life. And that's my message. Build yourself a practice, and help people share this, share it. Yeah? Share the ability to build a smart, intelligent practice, develop yourself, develop others, and that's my message. Yeah.
Awesome. Ido, do you have any questions for anybody?
I will ask Willie. How he sees himself and others in his profession in the long term. Doing this for life, connecting to my own question. Doing this for life, is it enough to fuel yourself, your soul, your brain, and not only your body?
I think that it's like we said before, the process of doing those skills fuels the mind and the body simultaneously. I get great sense of achievement when doing something that I had previously thought not possible by myself. Do you know what I mean? So as a long-term effects, I think that people will gravitate towards things that they enjoy. And everyone is going to see different things and grasp onto different things. The thing I chose to grasp onto is something that is a journey, and that's why I get upset when people ask me things like, hey, you still lifting? And I said, well, am I walking? Am I breathing? What kind of question is that? What kind of question is that to ask? I'm not doing this for fun. This is not something, this is a passion. And most people live their life not even knowing what that feels like, and I feel sorry for them. And they never really have a passion, so they don't understand what it's like when I get hurt. And people go, why do you continue doing this if you get hurt? And I say, well, that's part of the process. Now I learned from my mistake. Now how do I fix that and make sure it doesn't happen again? The squat did not hurt me. I hurt myself while squatting. It's not the mistake of the movement. I performed it incorrectly or I did something wrong, obviously. So the process is never ending. So almost to answer what Shawn had asked Ido, is we have a saying in the gym constantly that we're always telling people, embrace the process. If you fight the process, if you're not happy with the process, then it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. You must embrace it. You must be one with it. You got to take it day by day. It's an cumulative effect. You're not going to be a world champion in one day, not 3 months, not 6 months, not 1 year. But it's a process. The people that truly like it will come in and day out, do what you say, not ask questions, and they'll be champions in time. You know? So I see it as a lifelong thing for sure. And as far as health's concerned, as I get older and as things happen, I can address those issues from talking to guys like you, talking to guys like Shawn and Mike, figuring out what's wrong with me, and being able to, so I can continue doing what I enjoy to do.
I have a question for Shawn. I think it's kind of related. Do you think you'll ever, I mean, you travel the world teaching movement. Do you think you'll ever get your fill of that? Will you ever be satisfied? Will you ever reach a pinnacle of enjoyment? Or does it just keep getting better?
No, I just, I'm so ridiculously lucky. Even this weekend, even just the moment as I go while Willie was talking, I started to kind of get this feeling like, just this moment itself. I was just feeling the moment, thinking, this is nuts. Who gets to sit with you guys in a room having this conversation? Really, like it's.
I feel California, guys from Israel.
No, it's. I know I'm lucky. It's a ridiculous amount of luck. Sometimes I don't know why I'm this lucky. I must have done something okay in my last life, but. And when I travel, look, meeting Ido, this is ridiculous to me that I had that opportunity the way it happened. You know, somebody, they show up here today, it's fine, yes, they saw an advertisement for a course, and this is how it happened for them. For me, the way it happened, I'm always amazed as though, and I don't know if it's intentional or what it is, but, you know, to go to your gym, to show up, I have seen his videos online, I wanted to train with him, I wanted to meet him, it seemed it was going to be impossible, I didn't know he was traveling, it's a one day, someday I will go, and you tell me, oh, we double booked, this guy is here, okay, whatever, he shows up, I see right away who it is, next thing you know, we're training together, we're hanging out, now we're here in Canada. So for these things to happen, to be sitting in the room right now, and we're talking and sharing our experiences, so this happens to me all the time now. I get to travel the world, I get to see all these people, and the more that I see, the better I see that there are so many amazing people doing so many incredible things out there that I literally know every time I touch down somewhere in a different country and I get to train with somebody, I know nothing about anything. You know? I know less than I did last year. So I'm not getting bored. I'm finding more things to think about and more things to practice. You know? And even this weekend, I just wish I had more time to be in everybody's workshop and to practice and keep developing this practice so that so I can be of service. And that to me was the big thing. I'm very lucky, so since I'm very lucky, it's an insult, like I said before. If he takes a minute to show me anything, I owe him, you know, to really explain that very well to anyone who asks me and say, I know you trained with Willie, you know, why did he say, you know, mid-bar position? If I'm going to say anything and that person doesn't have the opportunity to meet Willie, I have to say it right. Say, this is what Willie said to me, and I have to get it right. I always try to get it right from what my coaches said so that I can be of service to anybody who wants to ask me anything.
Yeah. I think we definitely owe Shawn a lot of thanks for putting this together. And to close on that note, I think he understands obviously what movement means to the world. And you know, he's dedicated his life to it. And I think you know, there was a time that you tell the story of, you know, being in Montreal on a cold day and unloading, you know, about how many thousands of pounds of kettlebells in your driveway?
I forget now, was it I think it's 8,000 pounds in the freezing rain and minus 30 degrees, and everyone asks me how I got started. I said I was the only guy willing to spend his heating money on buying kettlebells and then have to move everyone by myself.
And that's where it started, and it went across the world, and it brought some of the world back here. So I'm very thankful. It's very cool. So I think on that note, we'll go to Mike's workshop.
That's
and
great.
We'll learn some more.
Train.
Cool.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks everybody.